Right, so Myf, first question, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what might be interesting for YIAG members to know?
Well, I don't know what will be interesting, but I am a partner in the international arbitration team at Ashurst, and I specialise in global energy disputes. So an array of energy disputes, so oil and gas, renewables, clean energy, and also mining as well. And predominantly my practice is actually focused in Africa, even though I am myself based in London. And as you can probably tell from my accent, I am not from London originally. I am from Australia. So I started my career at Freehills, which is now Herbert Smith Freehills in Melbourne. And I moved to London in 2014 after finishing up at my master's at Cambridge here.
Were you always interested in arbitration?
I was actually. So at university, I predominantly studied international law subjects and had a real interest in disputes as well. And when I went back to practice at Freehills, I was practicing the disputes team. But what I was really craving was something with a bit more of an international element to it. So I trawled through how I could possibly do that. And actually, I remember writing an essay on international arbitration for an IBA competition. And that was kind of the first time I'd really looked in depth at what international arbitration was and what it involved. And it really kind of spiked my interest. And I ended up kind of winning that competition, getting flown out to Dublin to the IBA conference, and then meeting with an array of international arbitration practitioners. And I just felt like I was really in my element. It was a really fantastic kind of experience. And as soon as I kind of arrived back in Melbourne, that was all I wanted to do.
You've taken part in the physical Tilney Hall events, and you know what the format is like. Do you think that is also something that is attractive to young practitioners?
I think so. I think that's the best bit, really, isn't it? It's to meet everybody face to face and to have that live discussion and to be able to, have to hear other people's points of view, and also to have the opportunity to have your kind of voice heard and also to put your opinion forth. And within those debates, the discussion doesn't stop there, which is the great thing about Tilney, is that you do have your breakouts and you do have your drinks and you have the dinners afterward, and then the train journey back to London, and then sometimes a breakfast, back in London. And it just continues that discussion. And that's why I really think those live events at Tilney are just so important. And they're definitely a highlight of my kind of professional and social calendar.
Maybe then moving on from that, why did you apply to be WYAAG co-chair?
Well, I think I wanted to apply as a co-chair for kind of two reasons, really. One was to be just even more involved and to really help to contribute to the continuing success of YIAG and to help to promote YIAG, so that, as many more young practitioners can get involved and actually can benefit from such an amazing organisation. And I think the other reason I wanted to be more involved in YIAG was to give back to the organisation that gave me so much. So when I started participating in YIAG events, I was quite a junior practitioner, and what I learned from YIAG really helped me in my professional career. And now that I have got much more experience, I think it's a really good opportunity to pay it back and really try and ensure that the success of YIAG just continues and gets better and better.
Do you have a favourite place to visit in London?
Well, it kind of depends on my mood, and it does very much depend on whether it's raining or not. But I think my favourite place to visit in London would be Hampstead Heath. I just think it's a great kind of, for those who don't know, it's just a huge park in North London, and it's a fantastic place to visit because you can really lose yourself in the absolute kind of it's just completely wild, a lot of nature. And there's also a lot of history there. So you can just walk around, lose yourself in your own thoughts, or just look at what the surroundings. And it's just a really nice place where you can kind of just, find some peace in an otherwise quite busy city.
To go to Tilney as well, the surrounding countryside is really good.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oleg, first of all, congratulations on your appointment as a YIAG co-chair. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Andrey. I'm a partner at White & Case, where I practice international arbitration, both commercial and investment. I am based in Moscow, and I'm qualified in 2 jurisdictions, Russia and England and Wales.
What was the most interesting place you have traveled to in your international arbitration career?
I would say New York, nothing exotic, but I remember that trip vividly. There was a hearing at the New York Bankruptcy Court, which I had to attend. The court is located in a historical Beaux-Arts building in Manhattan. It used to be a custom house serving the Port of New York. And in some ways, the courtroom and the hearing were very American, but at the same time, the setting struck me as surprisingly similar to what you would see in a Russian court.
Oleg, tell us, why did you apply to become a YIAG co-chair?
Well, to me, it was akin to homecoming. This is because several years ago, I had the privilege of being seconded to the LCIA and obtaining the first-hand knowledge of how efficient the Secretariat and the institution is. Then I served as the LCIA YIAG representative for Russia and the CIS. It is important, in my view, to have efficient communication, both among the practitioners and between the younger users and the institution, the LCIA. And I felt that I could contribute to that communication, particularly as far as our part of the world is concerned.
What do you think the YIAG brings to the table for young arbitration lawyers?
From a global perspective, YIAG offers excellent opportunities for exchanging views on topical issues. And what, in my view, makes YIAG stand out is the quality of its initiatives and events, to which our predecessors have made a tremendous contribution. Speaking from my regional perspective, for many practitioners from my part of the world, the LCIA has become a synonym for the very word arbitration, and it remains the dispute resolution forum of choice, particularly for English law transactions. YIAG, in turn, is a unique gateway to that world open for younger practitioners.
Final question, Oleg. What's your favorite place to visit in Moscow?
This is a difficult question because when it comes to favorite places, I'm rather a countryside person than a big city person. But in Moscow, I do like, for example, Nikitskaya Street. It is one of the few streets that have been preserved relatively well, and it represents what Moscow was like in the 19th or early 20th century. And secondly, it is also close to our office, so it is easily accessible to me.
Well, thank you very much, Oleg. And once again, congratulations on your appointment and good luck.
Many thanks, Andrey.
Hello, Sara. I'm very happy to welcome you as the new YIAG co-chair, who will be based in Paris, just like I was. And we're doing this little interview to introduce you to all our fellow members. Please tell us a bit more about yourself.
Thank you so much, Flore. So as you mentioned, I'm based in Paris. My full name is Sara Nadeau-Séguin, and I'm a partner with Tenue-Peak in Paris. Tenue-Peak is a boutique firm that does a mix of litigation and arbitration. I'm originally Canadian, but I have been practicing in either Paris or London for the past 10 years. And I do a mix of investment and commercial arbitration in a nutshell.
Could you please share with us the most interesting place you have ever traveled to in the course of your international arbitration career?
There have been many, but I have to say that Quito, Ecuador, and most particularly the region around the Coca River was a pretty extraordinary place to visit. Obviously, once you got past the altitude sickness, it was pretty awesome.
Were you there for a site visit?
I was there for a site visit and on a long project. It was an electric project in Ecuador. But because I was there for such a long time, I had a chance to visit and enjoy the city, which was pretty extraordinary.
Why did you apply to become a WYAAG co-chair?
Many reasons. I have benefited hugely from YIAG when I was a member. I think it provides a unique opportunity for young arbitration lawyers to network, and while they network and meet fellow arbitration practitioners, also to learn about interesting substantive issues of arbitration. And so having benefited from YIAG, I wanted to be a part of it.
What's your favorite place to visit in Paris?
Anything that I can do in Paris that does not involve work and walking around and enjoying this beautiful city, I have to say I enjoy it. It's a beautiful city, and it would be too difficult to give you one particular thing that I particularly enjoy doing or seeing.
Is there anything more that you'd like to share with our members, especially maybe those who haven't joined YIAG yet, and to tell them that it's a great place to join?
It is definitely a great place to join. Please join us. Please come to the events. I, and I'm sure the other YIAG members, look forward to meeting you and to exchanging with you. So please reach out.
Thank you so much, Sara.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure this afternoon to introduce Manish Aggarwal. I'm Nathan Searle, one of the existing co-chairs, and it's our privilege now to hand over our role to Manish and Myf and Oleg and Sara. Manish, please tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Nathan, and we should of course start by expressing our gratitude to you and the other co-chairs for all the contributions you've made to the work of YIAG over the last few years. In terms of my own background, I'm a partner in the London office of 3 Crowns, and I specialize in both commercial and investor state arbitration. I'm dual qualified in both India and England. And over the last 2 decades, I have studied and worked across 4 jurisdictions, India, Australia, Singapore, and England. Outside of work, I'm a foodie, and I love exploring different cuisines, restaurants, cycling with my toddler, and playing cricket in my spare time.
Well, Manish, you've worked in a variety of places. What would you say is the most interesting place that you've traveled in your international arbitration career?
I think if I had to pick one, the most interesting experience for me was a visit to a maximum security prison in a state in Asia, and we went there to advise the CEO of a major corporation who had, following a change in the government, fallen out of favor with the political regime, and who was then wrongfully incarcerated without any due process on potential investment claims against the state. And at the end of the visit, we were even given a tour of the facilities, and I must say the whole experience was quite surreal and a real eye-opener. And it was my first and hopefully last visit to a prison.
Yeah, sounds like a memorable experience, but perhaps one not to repeat. So, Manish, why did you decide to apply to be a YIAG co-chair?
So I have been a member of YIAG for more than a decade. And during that period, I have seen very closely both the LCI and YIAG the way in terms of promoting thought leadership, mentorship, and inclusiveness in our field. And I have personally benefited a lot from all the support I have received from both peers and senior members of the community just by being part of that group. So I think by being a YIAG co-chair, I now hope to do my bit to contribute to the cause of promoting the sharing of knowledge and ideas, and hopefully to support the professional development of younger members of the community, those who come from groups that are currently underrepresented in our field in particular.
Fantastic. And what do you think makes YIAG attractive to young arbitration lawyers? What does YIAG bring to the table?
I think from my own experience, I would say that YIAG membership truly provides an unparalleled experience to younger members of the community. It's an excellent platform for members across the globe to come together, whether in person or virtually, and to exchange views on issues that are of real relevance. And I think by doing that, they can actually make a real difference to the way we think about and practice international arbitration. And you combine that with an opportunity to develop a professional network and friendships across the globe. And I think it really makes for a very, very exciting platform.
And moving away from arbitration, what's your favorite place to visit in London?
I think for me, it has to be the Mecca of cricket, the Lord's Cricket Ground in St. John's Wood. And I should apologize to those who do not follow cricket, but I think if you are in London, you just have to visit the Lords to enjoy a game of cricket, with just the whole history, the tradition and the atmosphere. There is nothing quite like it.
Well, thank you so much, Manish. It's been great chatting with you. And it's very clear to me that we're leaving YIAG in very good hands.
Thank you, Nathan. It's very, very kind of you, and it's my pleasure to join YIAG.